Hello and welcome to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video we'll be answering the question, how can I use commas in lists and with dates? As you may recall, a comma separates words, clauses or ideas within a sentence. Let's first concentrate on commas used in lists. We can use commas to separate words in a simple series of 3 or more items. Never in just 2 or simply 1 item would we use a comma. Let me give you an example. We have fizzy water, fruit juice and lemonade. As you can see here, there are 3 items. Between items 1 and 2 I place a comma. It's important for you to realise that between the penultimate, that means the one before the last, and the last item in the list, I will never use a comma. No matter how many items in the series, that rule is true. Instead of using a comma, I would use the word and. Now let's look at a common mistake that many people make when using the idea of listing. My friends dance to hip hop, pop, grime, comma, and dance music. There are 2 big mistakes in the phrasing of this particular list. I don't know about you, but I've never heard of hip hop, pop, grime as one thing. When we fail to use commas in lists, we are not being clear to someone who doesn't know what we're talking about, exactly where each item ends and the next one begins. That is the function of a comma in a list. It makes it clear which item is which. Instead, the sentence should read, my friends dance to hip hop, comma, pop, comma, grime and dance music. The other mistake that we noticed in the sentence in red is that there should be no comma after the word grime and before the word and. That is not necessary. Now let's concentrate on commas used with dates. And here's a moment where you should probably rejoice that you're considering English that's grammatical from an English perspective. We're not thinking about American English. This is an English channel that's looking at the rules of English. I know, sounds like I'm going around the houses here, but there are differences. If you're an American viewer, there are different rules. But if you claim that you're following the English grammatical rules, you never know, you might be let off the hook. So the grammatical rules of English say that there are no commas used with dates, ever. So you could write the date as follows, and you should be correct. Monday the 7th of January 2018. Referring to something from simply its month might sound a bit more challenging, but let's look at the example. In December 2010, 200,000 people experienced an earthquake. We split this sentence into its clauses. In December 2010 is the person setting up the scene with a comma, because it's in a sentence. 200,000, it's important to notice that a comma is used wherever there are thousands involved in numbers. We often use commas in that point, but don't get put off. It's not like 200, comma, ... These are one big number, 200,000. It's important for you to realise though that when we're referring to things by month, we would never break up the month from the year. That would be wrong. I understand that when we understand these rules, we can apply them. That's why I'm going to give you a chance to answer some questions. Definitely, with commas, it's worth practicing using each of the grammatical rules that we cover so that it is embedded in your mind. Now, as promised, you get to try out what you know about the rules of commas in lists and the use of commas and dates. Hit pause if you need thinking time. So, how did you get on? The theme park had rides, queues and expensive food. It sounds like a mixture in positive and negative there within the sentence. In terms of the list that we had with 3 items, rides, queues and expensive food, the position of the comma is exactly right between items 1 and 2. with no need for an additional comma between cues and the word and, for example. Let's take sentence number 2. In December, 1999, people panic bought for the millennium. There is a mistake in this sentence. We shouldn't split the month from the year with the comma. It should read, in December 1999, people panic bought for the millennium, with no comma, though I could understand the logic of placing a comma after 1999. She begged, stole, and borrowed from everyone! ! There is a mistake in this example also. The comma should go before stole. It should read as follows. She begged, comma, stole, and borrowed from everyone. There should be no comma where it has been positioned at stole. As we already know, we never position a comma beside the word and. I'll get onto a specific rule later on called the Oxford comma that is a totally separate logic about that. But for now, that is completely incorrect. They battled through fire, flood, and foul fiends. In this sentence, the use of the comma in the list is perfect. It's between items 1, fire, and 2, flood. And finally, Friday the 13th, comma, is lucky for some. Now, to my mind, the date has not been broken up, but we do not need to separate the date itself from the rest of the sentence, because in this specific sentence, Friday the 13th is the subject of the sentence, and we don't need to isolate it from the verb is. So, no. In essence, the key to unlocking commas, whether it's in lists or dates or other things that we're covering, is drilling down to the detail and ensuring it's committed to your memory. So from my mind, what you need to do is ensure that you understand the rules of lists and dates. Have great notes on this stuff so you're ready to apply it whenever tested. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?